I love writing stories. I love telling people stories and hearing them. Like one of my pastimes is I'm always watching a Netflix series or a movie or something like that. It's all about stories for me, or I'm reading or listening to an audiobook or learning somehow. So that is when I came to the conclusion that you need to have a marketing agency because you love to, that's really what marketing is. It's connecting people with your why as the business owner. Like, why do you have it? Why do you serve people? How do you serve people and make an impact on solving their pain points, whatever their problems are? And when you can do that in a creative way, an engaging way, you've connected with your ideal client and made probably a customer for life.
Hey, Entreleaders, happy Wednesday, and welcome to another episode of the Leaders Lab podcast. For those of you who are brand new here, my name is Dr. Charity C. Campbell, and I am your host, better known as Dr. C, and I am a doctor of management, a world-class millennial global leader, an academic professional, and a multi-passionate entrepreneur. Here in the Leaders Lab, we talk all things entreleadership, communication, and balance as a millennial professional. Now, today's episode is very special because how would you like to learn the art of being the face of your own business? The art of being the face of your brand. In today's episode, our special guest is sharing how she became a successful entrepreneur and what it takes to be the public persona for your business or brand. Now, she's going to be sharing her insights on why being the face of your company or your brand or your business is important, and also what you can do for marketing. Where do you start when you don't have any marketing in place? And also where to find marketing content inspiration. So you know what to do. Go ahead and grab your cup of coffee, grab your tea, grab something to write with, whether it's your iPad, your notebook, your computer, piece of tissue, whatever. Just make sure it's sturdy, okay? And let's get ready to learn and glean from our special guest. So let me introduce her. Her name is Elizabeth Ruth. I love her name so much. And she is the owner and chief copywriter for ER Marketing Services. The agency empowers business owners to attract incredible clients, connect with their audience, and establish their industry authority. Elizabeth and her team specializes in design marketing strategies and writing content for websites, blog posts, social media, and emails or newsletters. Elizabeth Ruth has the ability and the wit to talk to entrepreneurs in terms of being a leader by being the face of their business and getting them to understand that people buy from people. When there's a face or a mascot associated with a brand, it does make people more confident in their choice to invest in products or services from that entrepreneur or business. And so, Entreleaders, I I hope you are ready to learn something today. Make sure you, wherever you are, unless you're driving, put your hands together and help us to welcome to the lab Elizabeth Ruth. Welcome to the Leaders Lab, love.
Thank you so much for having me, Charity.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So you're actually talking about one of the keys to my heart here, branding, because I started out in branding. Before we get into like being the face of the brand and the marketing and all of that, tell us, how did you get started in this field?
Well, a long time ago, when I took my undergrad degree, I have an English BA honors. I wanted to take my education because I love stories and I wanted to enjoy it. And let's face it, communications, whether they're written or verbal, they are the key to any business. It's a transferable skill that I wanted to tap into.
Yes.
Then when I started my professional career, I was a fundraising campaign director, and I was in charge of hundreds of millions of dollars that we were raising. Mostly my clients were universities and hospitals where we were raising for new buildings or new equipment, very important things. And one of the common threads that I loved there was connecting the right volunteer with the right potential donor. And as you mentioned when
Oh.
you were talking about me, people buy from people.
Mm.
People will support people. They won't just say, oh, this building, I want to connect with that. No, but if the right person, maybe it's an influential or an affluential person who's asking them, maybe if it's a university, they are alumni from the same class who got along really well and their passions aligned. Oh, if you're behind that, then I want to get behind that too, because they
Yeah.
have different, credibility in their eyes. Or perhaps you support my charity, I'll support your charity. Whatever the reason is, making that connection was so important to me. And it's a story thread. What's the common story? What's the
Yeah.
common connection that is really going
Yeah.
to make the volunteer feel good for going into the call and making that offer to the person, knowing it's going to be meaningful to them, and what offer is most meaningful to that potential donor. Some people like
Yeah.
to see their name in lights. They want to name it the John Smith Building,
Right.
or, the Jane Doe equipment piece, whatever that
Yeah.
is. Other people are more behind the scenes. Maybe they want to be on a donor wall, or they don't even want to have their name. Perhaps they want it anonymous and they have other private reasons for donating. So I went on a little bit of a tangent, but I love the stories. So I paused my
Okay.
career for about a decade raising my kids. I had a home daycare. And again, there's still marketing in your home business, my home daycare, because I had to find when I had an empty spot. I had to
Mm-hmm.
network and say, hey, do you know any families that would align with my morals and values and how I raise the kids and my programming structure? I
Yeah.
would have to steward my existing clients, because I would want to share the day-to-day of what their child was doing, so that they didn't feel like, I don't know, I dropped my kid off, I picked them up, they seem happy and healthy. Like, I don't know, what are they doing all day? So
Yeah.
I always like to 10 up my business and make it a step more. So we had a private Facebook group, and I would share photos of their kids in action. I would share the menu plan. I would do all sorts of things.
Wow. Wow.
And finally, how I got into the marketing agency, long story short, I decided, okay, our family and I am ready to transition out of the home daycare. My kids were tweens. What can I
Okay.
do? What skills do I have? What do I love to do? And that's when I came back to, I love writing stories. I love telling people stories and hearing them. Like, one of my pastimes is I'm always watching a Netflix series or a movie or something like that. It's all about stories for
Uh-huh.
me, or I'm reading or listening to an audiobook or learning somehow. So that is when I came to the conclusion that, duh, you need to have a marketing agency, because you love to. That's really what marketing is. It's connecting
Wow.
people with your why as the business owner. Like, why do you have it? Why do you serve people? How do you serve people? Make a difference and make an impact on solving their pain points, whatever their problems are. And when you can do
Yeah.
that in a creative way, an engaging way, you've made, just like we did with the volunteers and the donors, you've connected with your ideal client and made probably a customer for life.
So the question then is, how can a business owner be a leader in their marketing? Especially if they don't really have like marketing experience like that. How can they be a leader?
I'm going to come at it from this angle. A lot of
Okay.
my clients come to me and they're like, well, let's just do everything. Let's do ads and marketing. Like, let's just throw, a whole bunch of things that I've heard about from other people who do it, and let's just do those. But
Yeah.
really, it starts with a strategy based on your goals.
Okay.
And that could be dollar goals, perhaps leads. For me, I'm starting to intentionally grow my email list, because I want to have a course and I can't sell to nobody. I need to have people
Oh
on my
my
list to
goodness.
sell to. And we all know the percentage game, right? If you have 1,200 people on your
Yes.
list, maybe 10% of those will open or respond, but
Yeah.
only 1% of those will actually buy. So it's a
Yeah.
numbers game. And if you have your strategy and you're starting with that, you figure out, okay, I want to make X number of dollars this year. What does that mean? What components of products or services that I'm going to sell? Perhaps it's a course. Perhaps it's a specific training that you offer if you're a service provider, or perhaps it's a particular number of products that you sell if you're an artist and you want to have a certain amount of commissions. Whatever makes up that total, that's the starting point. Then you can work backwards and figure out, now, how do I best connect with my people? If you're an artist, you better be the face of the business or have your art be the show. It doesn't have to be you, the person, but it has to be the offer.
Yeah.
Again, people buy from people. If you can have a face of the business, that would be my first choice. Again, if it's a service, especially if you're a coach and it's something really intimate and people are buying you, your time, your service, time with you, you definitely want to be the face of the business, because what they're evaluating is, perhaps you have a course or a workshop or your one-on-one meetings. They need to think, okay, I'm committing to a year, I'm committing to 3 months, or a course that's 20 hours. Can I listen to this person for that amount of time? Do I agree with what they're saying? Generally, do they align with how I view the world? Because if they're polar opposite, you're not going to get anything from them, and you're not going to, take them seriously or listen to their advice. When you have that connection, that's how you can become a leader. We've seen some other brands. Let's look at Barbie doll. She has an amazing TikTok channel. It's so fun. And what they're tapping into their audience, it's incredible. If you read the comments, it's nostalgia, memories, quality time, imagination. So a lot of the people who are responding are women now who played with Barbie as girls and have those fond memories of, oh, my dad would play tea with me and my Barbies, or, my friends on the block, we'd all bring our Barbie totes and cars and meet up on the court and play outside. And also for the current girls who are experiencing that, I don't really think it's them. I really feel that their TikTok is tapping into the former Barbie. But there's also collectors, the originals too. Yes, there's also collectors. But now how they're being current is for Black History Month. I think it's Stacey. I don't remember who they have some African-American dolls, different ethnics. I think they have Spanish. They've very broadened right now. They've broadened their ethnicity. They've broadened their businesses, different professions that they have.
Wow.
And they're really tapping into the current trends, as well as I think it's called ASMR, where it's the sensational. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's basically different noises and
just noises.
And the way, scraping on the mic and different unpacking your fridge after a grocery shop or setting up your bathroom. It's very popular. It's funny, the different areas of TikTok, but people will take their eggs and put them in a clear container, or they'll take their fruit and wash it and put it in a clear container and they prep it. And that's super popular. Well, Barbie does that. It's so fun. It's like, oh, you are so relevant. So they're bringing back the relevancy for their new audience. Yeah. So I went on a tangent.
You actually still got me. No, it's okay. It's okay, because you just actually, you gave me some ideas for my health and wellness brand in terms of like my TikTok content, like doing ASMR, just for the, and honestly, I get sucked into it. Like, I had to stop watching it for a while because there's this one Korean guy who is like amazing. He gets the best food to try, and I just sit there and I literally just watch this man
eat. Isn't it funny the things we get hooked on?
I literally just watch this thin man sit and eat. He's eating and he's making all of this noise, and I'm like, he has a gajillion followers. Like, he is making so much money, and I always look at him and I'm just like, nobody would pay to just like sit and watch him eat. Like,
you would be surprised. You would be surprised.
He's just like killing it. And he's not like smacking or anything. Like, it's not rude. He's just like, so to hear you say, now I had not known about loading up your fridge. Now they've gone a bit. They've expanded.
Mesmerizing. The different corners, clean talk. I don't know. You think of it, it's on there. And it's very
Wow.
interesting. I've heard other people say, okay, so my phone was being repaired and I had to borrow someone else's phone, and I was scrolling through their TikTok and their For You feed was all white people and young girls doing dances. Like they had no like variety. So it's amazing how the algorithm picks up. And then they were having this conversation, and then, a person of color was also listening and laughing. And, like it's very interesting of it knows our preferences before we even know our preferences. But to bring us back to the answer to your question,
how to be started talking about ASMR, yes. But I mean, you did that. You did that to me, because I'm sitting here like in my mind, I'm like, I wonder if I should clean out my fridge.
I know the things that I have done. Make a video. The things that TikTok has made me buy. I bought a new hair dryer because and then I researched it and how other people were using it. I'm like, yes, this is a hair dryer for me. And I went and I bought it, and then I tried it and I'm like, yes, I love it. I agree with TikTok. It's so funny. But
did the hair dryer come from an account that was like branded, that you knew, or you saw their face and you're like, I trust them, let me check out?
Let's bring this back to the leader and relate it. No, it was a beauty talk. And she was an influencer in the beauty industry. So how she chose to be present on her platform was she did reviews of beauty products that she would do every day. So, and I think that's key to being the leader. And whether you're the face, whether you have a mascot, let's look at Duolingo. It's a language learning app. They have their owl who's a mascot, who's in love with Dua Lipa. And like, it's so funny, the stories. There was one that was very questionable where it was giving birth to babies. And
I have not seen that. Which language is that for? Because I use Duolingo for Chinese, and I was using it for Arabic, but Arabic was too hard, so I quit. But
it's just their general TikTok account. Is their
general on
official? Yes, TikTok. I'm sorry. I love TikTok, even though I'm not a video marketer, but the things you learn. And let me tell you what I've learned about being a leader myself as the face of the business, because I want to give some value back to the listeners here. Because I could go on about the crazy graveyard the tombstone cleaning lady who researches the story as she's showing visually herself safely cleaning these hundreds-of-year-old tombstones. And she's researched in the local municipality the story of how that person died, or a little bit about their life, or who they're buried beside. Fascinating stuff. So how can we translate that to you, my listener friends?
Wow.
It inspired me to realize I have stories to tell that I do every single day. Now I sit at my computer, so it's hard to be creative a little bit, or things that I have learned over time that I can share with my audience to bring value to them. And I don't need to sell, especially on TikTok. When you have found the message that most resonates with your audience. So in this case, it's me speaking. I'll give you other examples of how you can do it if you don't want to be the face of your business. But if you wanted to be the face of your business, it's me speaking and teaching. I take a teaching platform. Sometimes I'll dance and I'll point to things, and that will be my lesson. But 9 out of 10 videos are me speaking, giving 1 minute of value. And what's really good with that when you do short form videos is it makes your message so tight, so clear, because you can't go and just like I did and talk about Barbie and the tombstones and Duolingo. No, you have to just speak about one point and very concisely express it when you're doing that. And then now I happen to push it on all of my platforms. So if you're following me on LinkedIn or Instagram, wherever you are, you're going to find it, because that's the work smarter, not harder bit of how I help my clients is, why would you just do one piece and leave it and forget it? Recycle it.
Right. So you basically take whatever you put on TikTok and you also put it on the others too.
Absolutely. And if I'm having a sick day, I'll revive one that I did. Maybe it didn't perform very well a couple, weeks or months ago. I post that one. Let's see what it didn't like about it. I'm going to change the hashtags or the description and see. You can revive things. Nobody says you have to do one and done.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You just... So you can repurpose or reuse a story, but
Yes,
change the description or change the hashtags. You're not actually changing the media. You're not actually changing
correct.
the content, but you're
Yes.
just changing like the write up.
Because marketing is a
Ooh,
guessing game. It's an art, not a science. There's always things to
wow.
test. And that's what I did at the beginning. Do people like me dancing? A middle-aged woman dancing who can't dance and pointing to things? Or did they like me speaking, intimately, looking into the camera and giving a short message? I tend
Yeah,
to have the
yeah.
most reactions when I do that because that's more me. It's more true to who I am. It's super fascinating once you get into it. So it's fun to play. But if you're not
Hmm.
comfortable, let's give permission to other people who are not comfortable doing their face.
Yes.
So I want to go back to
Yeah.
this tombstone example. The
Okay.
woman is not necessarily speaking to the camera. Sometimes she's in the shot, but generally it's a picture of the tombstone and it's showing
Hmm.
her scrubbing it and it's showing her, spraying it with the special thing. But she's done a
Okay.
voiceover of the story. And it's a combination of watching
Ah.
her behind the scenes, which she may take for granted as, what? Doesn't everybody know how to clean a tombstone? Like, I'm just
Right.
watching, I'm just
Right.
cleaning. Why are you interested? And she's giving the
Right.
value through her voiceover with that story thread. So you can
Gotcha.
find something in your industry. If you're an artist, you can, maybe it's your side shot or your arm as you're painting or as you're sculpting, but you can zoom into the medium that you are creating. And yes, you're there because that's your process. People are fascinated. I am a knitter and a crocheter.
Okay.
But I watch people knitting and crocheting on TikTok or on videos when they come up because it's fascinating to watch. It's
Okay.
mesmerizing. And you also have to think of where people are generally, 8 times out of 10, they're just on the couch after a long day and they're just checking out. And they're just
Yeah.
going through their scroll. What is going to grab their attention? It's
Hmm.
the behind the scenes. That's another way to test it. You don't have to personally be in there if you're not comfortable, but a close up of your hands working. Get a
Yeah.
manicure. You can write it off if it's your hands. You're not
Yeah,
comfortable with it.
that works. So you use the store, or you're not just what you do, but this is also what you recommend clients to do as well, is to find a way to share a story. Find a way to
Yes.
tell a story with their message or their brand message. Find a way to communicate their brand message like through a story that's relatable.
Yes. Do you want me to give you some
Okay.
examples? Because I know people,
Yeah.
when I first heard tell a story, like, what, huh? What do I do?
It's
I
like
don't know what
once
that
upon a
means.
time, like,
Absolutely.
sure, please give us some examples of that. That would be
Okay.
awesome.
So let's look at the tombstone example. She's sharing stories of people's histories. Let's flip it to share stories of client success or a
Okay.
problem that someone has come to you for help with and how you helped
Yeah.
them or how your product or service can help them. You're not
Okay.
selling though, because people, especially on TikTok, are very savvy now. They know when they're being sold to. But if
Yeah.
you're coming
Yeah.
at the angle of how you helped that one person, through the story, this is why stories are powerful. When they are
Hmm.
hearing your example, okay, so Kate came to me. I'm going to be a wedding planner in this example. Kate came to
Okay.
me because she was getting married. She had planned up to a certain point, and then she just got so overwhelmed. Her mother, her future mother-in-law, her husband, they all had different ideas. So she just freaked out and she stopped. She realized that she needed a professional to step in, to almost act like a mediator, but to still keep
Hmm.
things going so that her vision would be brought to reality when her actual wedding day, and so that it could take off the stress of the experience and she could enjoy just being engaged, knowing that things were happening. She came
Hmm.
to me as her wedding planner. And together, this is how I helped her. We set up a plan. We had a meeting with all of the key people after I met with Kate so that I could understand what she really wanted, because ultimately it's her decision, it's her day, and I am her advocate. Then
Yeah.
I wrangled in all the troops, herded some cats, and gave them key assignments of what they were passionate about. Mother wanted to do flowers. She had a very good eye. She had a best friend who was a florist shop owner. Do you see how I'm telling you a story and I'm
Yeah.
spinning it?
Yeah.
I don't even
Yeah.
plan weddings.
I was like, I was like, she found this on TikTok. Like she got this wedding. Like she is planning the whole thing. And I'm like, oh no, she's just really a creative. Like, cause creatives, I bet you were probably one of those people like at camp when you all sat around the fire and you were like, okay, guys, let's tell a story. And one person would start off and pass around the,
Yes.
the flashlight shining, and like you would just steal the whole story. I feel like you would just like by the end, everyone would be like, whoa, like just done. But I love that. But here's my question then, because I can feel like somebody might be asking that. How do I tell my story in a way that is complete? It is comprehensive, like meaning that
Yes.
people can comprehensible, but it's complete, comprehensive. But also, like people aren't going to click away and say, "Ooh, all right, that's enough." How do I do that?
Okay. First, I want to just backstep and say, I'm talking about short video. Yes, I'm saying TikTok. It could be Instagram Reels. It could be any kind of 60-second, like 1 minute video. On TikTok, you
Yeah,
can go up to 15 minutes. But this can
nice.
translate whether it's a blog post, a written, maybe you're doing a written description and you're chunking it up over social media. It's not necessarily video, but we're going to assume it's video, but I want to give permission to the listener that you can use it in different formats.
Okay.
So assuming we're doing it over 60 seconds, or again, whichever you're choosing, do it as a series. Remember I said, if you have only 60 seconds, you're going to
Ah,
really fine tune the message. Let's use our example with Kate the bride. The
love it.
first one, I'm talking about her problem, why she came to me. She was overwhelmed. And you say,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what we did. Click my account for part 2. Now, this is an algorithm game too, because not only are you hooking them in on your series, you're making a mini series, right? Just like
I like it.
Netflix, or you get onto a TV series and you're like, oh, I can't wait till season 3 starts. You're creating your
Yeah.
own little one by dripping one story out in so many different ways. The next thing
Wow.
is try and break it up by themes that make sense. So we talked about the problem. Then we say, here's what we needed to do. Step 1, there's a video. Follow me for step 2 in the next video.
Yeah.
Step
Yeah.
2, and you're very, I assigned mother-in-law to work with the florist, and this is why we did it, and the instructions I gave her, period. Stay tuned for step 3 to see what mother-in-law is going to work on, or
Wow.
husband, or whoever. That's how you
Yeah.
break it out into manageable chunks. You can do the same in written form video, have a series. And now I want to get into a little bit of the tech because I think SEO is important, whether it's,
Okay.
hashtags or keywords. People search on
Yeah.
Google, on TikTok, on Instagram. That's why they have hashtags on Instagram, even on Facebook.
Exactly.
If they may say
Exactly.
wedding florist, you want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure in that written description, and you're using the term wedding florist and or the hashtag wedding florist, because
Yes.
it's going to pop up. Do a little bit
Yeah.
of research and see what people are looking for: wedding flowers, wedding centerpieces, what have you. Your story is going to pop up, and you know what? You've done it as a series. Boom, you caught them. They're going to subscribe
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want to miss the latest installation of your update. And you
Wow.
haven't sold anything to them, but you've proven you are the person to come to, because, oh my gosh, I'm a bride and my mom and my future mother-in-law are driving me nuts too. This
Yeah.
lady,
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
what she's doing.
So how do you choose which platform to market on and to maximize your efforts? Because it can be that's really
Yes.
stressful to do TikTok and Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and any other one. So where should businesses market to maximize their efforts and
Mm-hmm.
to, as they are growing their audience through telling stories, how do you know which ones to focus on?
Yes. My disclaimer is I'm a marketing agency. I am present on all things. I have a team. I need to test so that I can advise you with a qualified
Okay.
answer. So that's my
I
disclaimer.
like
That's why
that.
I am
I like
everywhere.
that. I like that.
The next thing, remember at the beginning, I was talking about goals. When
Yeah.
you are very clear on your goals and you are very clear on who is going to be helping you, who's going to be buying. We'll just stay on Kate and the wedding planner example. Well, I know that
Okay.
brides who are millennials and Gen X, some Gen X. We just looked up before the call started. We looked up the different generations. So I'm informed now.
We did. We were like, wait, which one comes after millennials?
Yes.
It's the
Oh, wait, is it
Gen
Generation Z?
Z?
It's
I
and I'm
think it's
Canadian, so I'm
yeah.
saying Z,
Yeah,
not
she's
Z.
Canadian, so she's saying Z. She's joining us
Yes.
from Canada today. So,
Right.
and you hear me saying Z, but Z is Z and Z is Z.
Correct.
So, but we were like, who comes out? We know it's Generation X and then millennials, but who?
Z.
What do we call those? And so there, yeah.
Yes. So we need to know where they're hanging out.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's use this bride example. I would say they're probably in local Facebook groups.
Okay.
For brides. That could be a potential. You'd have to research. I don't know if brides are still really, I see them, they're active because young moms are active in Facebook groups.
Yes,
I would definitely want to have a presence on Facebook, and I would want to engage with people in Facebook groups. I'm not going to post my videos, but I'm going to engage with them. So then when they go to validate me and they see I'm a wedding service provider and they're checking out my Facebook feed, that's where they're going to see my videos. I definitely
so you wouldn't post the same content on Facebook?
No. Not in Facebook groups. Let me finish this thought, and then I'll go into explaining.
Okay,
the difference.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I get so excited about this
your
stuff.
train of thought. Yeah, because I'm like, so wait now, but go ahead. Okay. So
we're using Facebook page as though it's our website on Facebook, so people can validate us. I also suspect that young brides are on TikTok.
Okay.
That age group, millennials, right? They're even saying, for the older people, born after 1980 or, before 1980. But that's the big joke. We're considered old. But so it's the young people who are on TikTok. If you're doing business to business, you definitely want to be on LinkedIn. Yeah. If you're doing blog posts and or even if you're treating your content, your video content, as though it's blog, content, that kind of value instead of purely entertainment. Would I put the guy eating Korean food on there? I don't know. But on Pinterest is what I'm talking about. But I do put my blog posts that are written as well as my videos that are teaching things onto Pinterest because that makes sense. And Pinterest, yes, it's lumped under social media, but really it's a search engine. And it's a long game on Pinterest. Just like YouTube and Google, your website, it's a long game because the more those spiders crawl in the index and you're using the right, as I said before, SEO, which are your hashtag mix and your keyword mix in the descriptions, you're going to get found for that. And again, so now let me bridge. And also my permission to you is start with 1, maybe 2 social media platforms. Don't burn yourself out. Become the master. Focus more on your process, on making it happen. Every Friday afternoon, I record all my TikToks for the next week. And every morning, I push them out. Or I've set up a Zapier or an if this and that or a Repurpose.io, which if you're not sure what those are, they're trigger-based automations. So when I post to TikTok, then do this step, then do this step, then do this step. And then it makes it, it can go everywhere. There are pros and cons to doing that, but whatever it is, work out your process and then fold in another platform that makes sense to you if it does. Or if you're not seeing results on those first 2 that you're doing, tweak, test. Oh, maybe I need to start more, dancing videos. Oh, yeah, people love those. Okay, that's how I'm going to get my message across.
Okay. Now, do you agree with the concept of having primary platforms and then those secondary or tertiary platforms where it basically, it just automatically pushes through to for example, when you post something on Instagram, you can also, send it automatically to Facebook and Twitter, but you might not be going to those platforms to engage. It's like, I call it basically creating a content library so that if people who happen to be a part of your target market, if they are on those sites, they can find your stuff, even though you might not physically be there. Do you agree with that? Or do you say, no, just focus on 1 or 2 where you are engaged?
Both. And this is a perfect segue into what I was going to define when I was talking about Facebook groups. Social media are 2 words. Social media. Media are your posts, are your videos. And really, it's a way for people to vet that you're legit, or to do further research on who is this person? Do I really want to invest in their course? So they're doing more due diligence probably at that point, or they've just seen you on your feed. But generally, on a whole, people are just like, who's this person who's engaging with me? Like, like, what's this all about? So they're using it for that reason as a general rule. The social part is where the engagement part comes in. You're in Facebook groups, as I was giving before as one of the examples, or you're actively searching a hashtag. Let's use the bride example again. Where are my brides hanging out? Brides near Toronto, or Toronto brides, whatever. I am engaging with them. I'm not selling to them. I do want to make this clear. I am making meaningful comments on their post. I am just give. And what will happen? People are savvy now. They will look. Let's use Facebook. That's the platform that we'll pretend we're on. We're in a Facebook group. If you have updated your personal profile and your about section, and it says head event planner or owner and chief event planner at ABC Events, Elizabeth's Weddings, or something like that, whatever my business name is, they will click on it and they will check it out.
Okay, yeah.
But the beauty of giving meaningful advice, whether it's in groups, on other people's posts, is that you're building authority, not only in their eyes, but other people who are reading their posts. And if they are a bride and they're on Instagram, or they're in a group, well, especially in a group, the Toronto brides, those are other brides. They're going to be listening, and you just answer their question.
Wow.
And if someone...
That takes a lot of work.
Well, you can do it. You can set very small goals. I want to reply to 5 people or 30 minutes, whichever comes first. And you're mining it, though. You can search. There are ways to search and filter through. You will, again, develop your system before you get onto 20 platforms. What are your goals? Always align with your goals. My goals are, I need to have August and September. I have 3 openings to be a day of wedding coordinator. So I'm going to hustle, go into those groups, and don't join the groups that don't give you results. Find ones that are very active, that have high membership, high posts. And you can even search, who's looking for a day of coordinator, who's using this phrase, or just look through the last 24 hours. And you're leaving meaningful comments, oh, I'm looking for a florist. Does anyone have any recommendations? Oh, yes, this is one of our preferred vendors. And you can link to them. We love working with them. Do you see what I did there? I didn't sell, but I let you know I'm a wedding planner and I work with preferred venders.
Yeah.
Or if someone's asking a direct question, say, oh my gosh, ladies, my wedding coordinator just quit, help. Then you can say, this is something I specialize in, and I would love to have a quick call and see how I can support you. You don't drop a link right there. You let them ask for it. Then you can say, if they say yes, sure. And if the group rules let you do it, because you'll have to know, some people say no DMs or no posts, but let's say, assume that everything's all clear, you can do it. You can drop your link and say, great, here's my schedule, book on my Calendly link or Acuity or whatever, or give them a couple. But when you drop the link, what I have had when I'm networking with other female entrepreneurs, because those are the groups I go into, they will say, oh, I'm looking for your service too. Can I book a call? You surely can. You use that link.
Yeah.
Please. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And the reason why they're feeling confident is because they have seen my name and my face pop up. Give information. I don't give the secret sauce away, but I can certainly make recommendations. And sometimes they'll ask for clarifying questions, or they'll, ask for following up. In those follow-ups, very genuinely, and with the, I want to help you, instead of use car salesmen, you want to just say, this is something I could help you with if you'd love to grab a call. Doesn't that feels like someone's really offering to help you instead of sell to you?
Authentic. Yeah. So I appreciate you sharing that with us, because sometimes it can be a little difficult to know what's the best way to approach someone who you can help them. you want to sell to them, but you don't want to feel, like you said, salesy. You don't want to seem like, a sleazy used car salesman. You just want to be you want to be authentic, to let people know that you really do have solutions to their pain points. And so I think that you really gave us a treasure chest of ideas and actionable tasks that we can take. And so I appreciate that. Now, as we're coming closer to the end of our segment today, I'm going to ask you the one question that I ask everyone. It's always the same. What is the one characteristic, the most important one, that you believe every leader must have?
The desire to help. And
Mm.
I'm going to explain that by saying, just like in the example, when we are networking authentically, whether it's online or
Mhm.
in person, are you the person in the corner who's throwing your business card at people? Or are you actively, hello, I'm Elizabeth. This is what I do. What do you do? And taking the
Yeah.
time to listen to what they do. If it's your team, do you have the respect of your team? Do they feel comfortable coming to you? Do you mentor them? Do you help them? Or are you always biting their head off and they're afraid to come to your office or to call you and ask for clarification? So when you come at it from a place of helping, your business will thrive, not only your team, but also your clients, because they know you're that go-to person who's going to do their best to
Yeah.
help them. And that is really, when it comes down to it, you've all heard, what problems do you solve?
So the desire to help. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and also for sharing your time with us today. I know you're a busy woman. You've been helping your clients and building your own business as well. And if there is someone who's watching and they're like, listen, I need more from her. I need to hear from her. What is the best way that our audience members, our listeners and viewers today can get in contact with you?
The best way is to go to my website, and I see the ticker tape. It's 𝑒rmarketingservices.com. And if you click my contact page, it will ask you a couple of questions. And immediately after you send it, check your email and or your junk box, and you will have an email from me with my calendar, and we can book a short time together so I can learn more about your
Nice.
business. And together we
Nice.
can see if we're a good fit to work together and solve your problem.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We appreciate that very much. Also, if you are watching the video version of the podcast, you do see her email addresses on the screen, which is hello@ermarketingservices.com. And also, there is a ticker tape that's going down there with all of her social media handles, which on Instagram, she's ER Marketing Services, same as Facebook. And you have two LinkedIns.
Yes, I have a personal page and a business page.
Okay. And which one would you prefer people to contact you on?
Either is fine.
Okay.
Personal works. I love making connections. I'm always
Okay.
about learning what other
Okay.
entrepreneurs are doing out there and seeing them in my feed.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, listen, for those of you who are listening to the audio version, don't worry. You have access to all of these links by checking the show notes below. And then also, too, for those of you who are watching the video version, you can look right below the video in the description box under About Elizabeth Ruth, and you can find all the ways to connect with her right there. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us in the Leaders Lab on today. We so appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me, Charity, and to all the listeners who stayed till the end.
Yes, you guys are the real MVP, always, okay? Always. And also, don't forget, you all, that you can connect with me on social media as well. Everywhere I am at DrCharityTV. And if you are interested in being maybe a guest on the podcast, in the Leaders Lab, for season 3, because season 2 is all booked up now, but for season 3, then you can send us an email at the Leaders Lab podcast at DrCharityTV.com. And or you can just, like I said, contact me on social media. Let me know, how I would love to receive testimonials. Let me know how today's episode or any of the other episodes that you have watched or listened to, how have they impacted you? Whew. As always, I am honored that you tuned in today and every other week. I appreciate that you tune in every Wednesday just to hear from either myself or my very special guest and what they have to contribute. I really hope that you find this content valuable, and I will see you next week in the lab.
Thank you for listening to the Leaders Lab podcast. Visit our website at www.drcharitytv.com.